Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm joined with Alana. And Alana, I'm very excited because I found you on Instagram. And I don't think I've really seen your story anywhere. So it's quite a new, fresh story. And I'm really excited to get like into the depths of this. And you're in Malaysia as well, which is worth mentioning.
Yes.
I think we should pull out our Bahasa a little bit before we do this interview, by the way.
Boleh, boleh.
Oh, God. I know you're going to be so much better than me.
No, probably not, by the way.
Apa kabar?
Kabar baik, terima kasih. Dan kamu juga.
Saya baik juga. Your accent is so good, mashallah.
Thank you, but no.
It is like you actually sound like you're saying it properly.
Oh gosh.
Oh God, I haven't. So I stopped for a year. Saya berhenti selama saya tahun. So like I haven't been learning for like a year. I stopped learning for like a year. So it's all very rusty and old.
Yes, I mean, don't worry. Since I met my husband, yeah, we don't speak Malay at all. Dulu saya belajar juga, tapi sekarang tak cakap much at all. So
Okay.
yeah, I also don't speak so much these days, but inshallah, we'll hopefully learn more very soon. Inshallah, coming guys.
Inshallah. Tapi saya tinggal di Malaysia sekarang, right?
Like
Yeah.
I live in Malaysia now.
Okay. Where, sorry?
Yeah, betul, yeah, correct. Saya tinggal di Kuala Lumpur. I live in Kuala Lumpur. Yeah.
Saya tidak pergi ke Kuala Lumpur.
Crying? No, I'm not crying. You're crying.
Yeah, like I cannot go to Kuala Lumpur.
Yeah, like I haven't been, sorry. Like I haven't been to Kuala Lumpur.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
And have you been to Malaysia?
Tidak.
Oh,
Tidak.
oh, jom. Come, let's go around. Gosh, there's so many. Masjid Chanti, beautiful mosque.
You know what? You're probably a professional now. You could tour guide me and everything.
100%. Yes, please come. I would be more than happy to do so.
That's exciting. Okay, right. That was good, by the way. I love your accent. Let's get straight into your story. Okay. So, were you religious before you became Muslim? Like, did you have any religion?
Not really. You know, like my path with religion is something that I was trying to push to be on, but I couldn't find. Like, I've always known there's some sort of higher being, some sort of, at that point, I didn't know what exactly, but I knew there was something greater than us, greater than me, that was always right in my path for me. I've always been a believer in everything happens for a reason. And maybe I don't know that reason, but I just always felt in my heart, okay, this was meant to be. I either learn from it or I don't, and I just stay in the same place. So I always knew there was something bigger, something greater. And when I first started uni at 17, I tried to look into different religions. I tried to look into Buddhism, Christianity, and nothing could feel so strong in my heart at that time. And yeah, so I would say before I knew there was a greater being, but I just didn't know exactly what that was.
Okay, interesting. Do you remember kind of looking into Christianity and Buddhism and what it is that you liked but didn't keep you there?
Yeah, like now I can reflect back and I know what it was. It was that it didn't feel as rooted as Islam feels to me now. Like it was a little bit I don't want to say this in a nasty way to anybody who's Christian or Buddhist, but it just felt a little bit not so set in stone for me. It means like you could kind of do a little bit of this if you wanted, and that would make you maybe like Buddhist or Christian, but hey, you don't have to do everything. It's up to you. And I'm like, gosh, I don't know where that leaves me then. Do I try do everything that you're trying to teach, or do I do nothing? And, you know, it was a little bit confusing in my head. And then, alhamdulillah, when I started to learn more about Islam, then it was this guidance that I was like, gosh, this is what I need. I am a human. I will always whether I mean to or not, sin. If I don't have this guidance, I will always, not always, but I will sometimes make these wrong decisions. But when you're given this guidance in Islam and you slowly start to follow it, you just know that if you do everything with these pure good intentions, then you're trying your best to be a good human, right? And that is where the love started to form, where I finally had something that, gosh, I can actually follow this, I can actually feel like I'm practicing this religion well. So that is where the kind of clock started to turn for me.
I completely get that, because you're right. There are beautiful teachings in Christianity and like Buddhism, etc. But there's not that discipline that like the discipline that Islam brings, where it says, like you've got to pray 5 times a day, like you've got to fast.
Yes.
And that discipline is what you need if you want to be good at something. Like you're not going to become a professional athlete if you have no discipline. If you're not going to become a professional CEO if you have no discipline. So if you want to be good at something, you need that discipline side. So if you really want to have like spiritual connection and reach like the divine, then you need to be disciplined. So how did you learn about Islam then?
Yeah, so my journey with Islam really begins back in 2019. So I decided to do an exchange year with the University of Edinburgh, where I was doing a 4-year degree, and I had to do 1 year abroad. And I super randomly picked Malaysia. At that time, I really didn't know much about Malaysia at all. I had no idea it was a Muslim country. I had no idea about anything here, which I'm sure my followers now must be like, gosh, Alana didn't know about Malaysia before. That's crazy, because all they know me for is Malaysia. But alhamdulillah, I randomly picked Malaysia. And when I came to my university, Uni Razak, I had one extra course to pick. I am a business student. It's a business university, but they also do Islamic banking. So they had this random, out of all the entrepreneurship courses, all the business courses, they had one random Islamic studies course, and I had one course to fill. So again, I just randomly picked Islamic studies. I thought, hey, you know what? This is one religion I don't know much about at that time. I would love to learn more about. I love to break down stereotypes. I love to widen my knowledge, So I just randomly picked it, and I went to the class and I sat down, and my teacher, she was like, oh gosh, Alana, what are you doing here? And I was like, I just want to learn more. And she was like, wow, alhamdulillah. And slowly over that semester, it was about 3 months I took that course. We learned about hadith, which I, just started falling in love with hadith, slowly going through parts of the Quran, of course, learning about the 5 pillars of Islam. And that's really where it began back in 2019. And I was so fascinated to learn more about this religion. And at that point, COVID came. And I actually decided after my studies to go to Indonesia. I went to Bali for what ended up to be about a year, because I knew that COVID would be quite tough in Kuala Lumpur. I knew they'd have strict policies, so I went to Bali. But at that time, after just learning about Islam for 3 months, I was staying in a place where there was a whole bunch of Muslims. And I decided that Ramadan, hey, I'm going to fast with you guys. I'm going to see what it's like. I'm going to test myself. And that was in 2020. And I just decided to food fast and water fast. Not so much, I wasn't really reading Quran at that point. I was just testing, the food and the water. How does it feel? And the gratitude you felt from not eating or drinking all day, and then, breaking your fast with some water, some dates, gosh, that just fed me that whole Ramadan. And then for the next couple of years, it was just slowly learning more. In Malaysia, when I first came here, I had a whole bunch of Muslim friends. So I used to always refer back to them. What does this mean? Why do you do this? And then it came to 2022, and I was back here in Malaysia, alhamdulillah, after COVID. I finally got back. That whole time I was trying to get back. And I had this fire inside where I just wanted to go to the mosque. I felt like I've started to learn about this religion over these years, and it's not enough for me. I need to see it. I need to feel it. I need to try take that next step. So alhamdulillah, I called my friend Zuleika, and she came to my apartment and she dressed me all up, appropriately for the mosque. And we went to the mosque and she explained everything, the azan, wudu, where to pray, about the separation of the male and the female in the prayer room inside the mosque. And again, like, my love just came more for Islam, started flooding in. And then for the next year, from 2022 to 2023, I decided to fast again during Ramadan, but this time, one step more. I was trying to read Quran. I was trying to delve more into Hadith. I was trying to, understand more about the prayers. And that Ramadan, I really tried to learn more about where do women fit into Islam. Because although I was really learning about Islam along this journey, I couldn't understand, like, where do women fit in? Because now that I reflect back, I still had prejudices and stereotypes that may have been fed to me through media, that may have been fed to me through my own upbringing. Not family, by the way. I just mean maybe in terms of media in the West, what the West kind of view Islam like. So that Ramadan in 2023, last year, I really tried to understand, where do women fit into Islam? And I started to learn more about hijab and what that means, and so many different things. And I felt really enlightened last Ramadan. And to finish off the story, then we've really got to come to my Shahada in November 5th last year, just a few months ago. And at that point, I had met my now husband. And of course, a lot of people jump to conclusions, oh, you must revert to Islam because of your husband. And ultimately, I now see it as that was like Allah's last gift to me, like, is it your time to make a decision, Alana? You've been on this journey, which started way before I met my husband. My husband and I only met, and then 2 months later we were engaged, and 2 months later we were married. So, my journey started many, many years before him, but it of course came to a point where I decided, do you want to be Muslim or do you not? Because you've got big decisions to now make to do with your life partner and your family. So alhamdulillah, I decided this is my time. I've learned so much over these last years about Islam, and I now need to obviously make a decision, and I did, alhamdulillah, and I decided to become a sister in Islam, and that's the story, really.
Subhanallah. What was that kind of final push for you then in November or October, like end of October, beginning of November?
It was a point where I'm like, Alana, your path has come this way. Your path has led you to Islam. You have learned more about it. You've went past, beyond learning about it. You've fallen in love with this religion. So is it for you or is it not? And I really had to genuinely just sit down in my room on my bed and just pray and make a decision. Is this the calling for me, Allah? Is this my time? All right, so be it. This is my time. And I made the decision. Then I, text my now husband and called my really close friends here in Malaysia, my Muslim friends, and said, guys, this is time. And, they're crying on the phone saying, oh gosh, we never expected this, Alana. Although they've seen my journey, if you take 2019 Alana and compare her with 2024 Alana, you would not even think they're the same person. So they were obviously very emotional and just so happy about that.
What do you think was stopping you before?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think, of course, lack of knowledge, because before I just didn't know as much about Islam as I did now, although I took like formal classes until you actually start kind of experiencing it, but actively trying to take on the 5 pillars of Islam, for example. I think lack of knowledge, maybe a little bit of judgment, to be honest. Maybe I was a little bit nervous about what maybe people back home might say. Many things, maybe a little bit of judgment. But I think just my heart wasn't ready back then. It wasn't filled with the love for Islam that that it then got over the years. So yeah, and of course stereotypes, you know, maybe I still had some stereotypes in my head that alhamdulillah slowly over that time I was able to understand better.
I guess the best way for beating stereotypes is just by being with the Muslims or whoever it is you're stereotyping.
Absolutely. And, you know, subhanallah, I feel like my mum lives with us now here in Malaysia. I feel like she's in that path where she gets to kind of see, like, hey, you know, whether you're Muslim or not, you're still a human, you know, you still make decisions, you know, you still think, you still feel, you know. If you're Muslim, it's not that you suddenly have all these radical things to do. You're just another person. You still laugh, you still joke, same sense of humor, you know. So I think it's been great for her to be able to break down these stereotypes also.
Wow, that's amazing. Your mum, like, how long has your mum been living in Malaysia? That's amazing.
Yeah, mum's been here now. This will be mum's 4th month, yeah, here in Malaysia. So yeah, it's been a crash course for her, learning about Islam, but also Malaysia as a whole. So yeah, I hope she's enjoying.
Okay, so then that leads to the question of, like, how did your family react when you became Muslim?
Yeah, I mean, my family have always known that I'm this like strong, independent, like always making my own mind, like no matter what they say, you know, I always just do what I want. They told me to, well, not everyone, but some family members told me, come back from Bali during COVID. And I was like, no, sorry, I'm staying here. So they always know that I try my best to educate myself before making decisions. I know the responsibility when I make decisions. So alhamdulillah, you know, my mum was like, all right, I trust in you. You do whatever makes you happy. If this makes you happy, then you go for it. And yeah, I suppose my dad just had a few questions about, like, I don't know, like, what do you have to dress differently now? How are you going to have fun? And I'm like, you can still have fun as a Muslim. Like, I don't know what your idea of fun is, but you know, maybe it's just not the same as mine's anymore. So my dad had a few questions, but ultimately, you know what, my parents, as long as I'm happy, and you know, the proof is in the pudding. You know, I'm still Alana, I'm still happy, still make jokes, still do many things that I did even before I was Muslim, coffee shops, you know, like all these, you know, normal human things. You know, it's not as crazy a change as maybe they thought. Maybe just behind closed doors, I'm going to be praying, and you know, that's behind closed doors anyway, not for them to see. Maybe I'm going to be reading Quran, but again, that's my own personal time with God, so it's not something they even would see. So perhaps it wasn't as big a change as maybe they thought, or maybe others would think. Yeah.
So as you were learning about the religion for a long time before you converted, now the person you are now, do you feel like you're different since you took the Shahada, or do you feel like it's not really much has changed?
Of course, yeah, a lot of things have changed, but of course, like as I mentioned, like a lot of things behind closed doors, you know, things that nobody would see apart from Allah, you know, like 5 prayers a day. You know, I'm slowly trying to make sure that I don't skip prayers, which has been difficult, to be honest. You know, nobody finds it that easy as a beginner to almost, like, we feel at the start like give up this time, but then we realize, no, you're not giving up this time, you're gaining so much from these prayers. So there are definitely things that have changed, because they must, in fact, you know, trying to follow the 5 pillars of Islam. But when it comes down to what people see on the outside, you know, of course now, alhamdulillah, I'm wearing hijab, which obviously is a visual difference. But, you know, I just keep saying this on my social media, like, guys, I'm still me. I still make the same jokes. I still laugh at the same things, you know, I still love the same foods. I still, you know, make YouTube videos in a very similar way. Doesn't matter if I'm wearing hijab or not. I'm just me. It doesn't matter, you know. So I think I try to bring that across on my social media for future, like, Alanas that have this path as well, you know, like for future reverts who suddenly the world might think they're, oh my gosh, you're going down this path in XYZ, when in fact, okay, you're going down that path, alhamdulillah, you know, take your time, and yeah, you're still going to be the same jokey, laughy person, you know. That's something I try to kind of come across on my social media.
What is it about the Malaysian people that like impressed you when it comes to Malaysians and Islam?
Gosh, I mean, if I can also just like, if we just take Islam out of the picture for even a second, like Malaysians as a whole, because obviously there's so many religions here, I always felt this warmth from Malaysian people. And it's getting to a point where it's cliche, because us foreigners talk about this all the time in Malaysia. And we do feel like it's cliche because we all say it, but we genuinely, absolutely mean it. The warmth we feel from Malaysian people as a whole, whether they're Muslim or not, is just beyond our wildest dreams, and something that you will not find in every country. It is very special here in Malaysia. And bringing Islam in, you know, if we look at Malaysians who are Muslim, I always felt accepted in Malaysia, whether before I was non-Muslim and now I am Muslim, I have the same level of acceptance. And I think that is beautiful, because some people might be on their journey, you know, some people might not know about Islam yet at all. And to be accepted no matter what, and then slowly learn about Islam along the way, I just think it's a beautiful space here in Malaysia for anyone to come and learn about Malaysia, of course. But yeah, also to learn about Islam slowly. So the warmth of Malaysian people, gosh, I could not even dream of this level of nice people.
SubhanAllah. Can you think of any like specific scenarios where perhaps you met a stranger who had like exceptional character towards you that surprised you in any kind of way?
Oh gosh, like specifics. There's so many.
Like, for example, when I went to Palestine, there was a guy who was working on a market stall, and I tried to give him a tip. He was so friendly and so nice to me and my ex-husband that we tried to tip him, and he wouldn't take the money, and instead he was like, "Come to my house for dinner," and like his family just made dinner for us. And it's like, you're literally living in poverty. We're trying to like give you money. You won't take it. You just invite us to have and give us food.
Gosh, classic Palestine. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Beautiful. Alhamdulillah. I think for me, there's just so many like small interactions also to do with like food vendors as well. I just feel like so many times along the way when I've been filming videos, like just the kindness of Malaysians just always pulls through. I just feel like Malaysians will always find a reason to smile. And I think, you know, if I look at Malays, who of course are Muslim, I do feel like a lot of that comes with their religion. You know, they just always believe that, hey, whatever path is sent, whatever happens, you know, alhamdulillah, we either learn from it or, you know, we love it, you know. So yeah, but specifics, oh goodness. I just feel like lots of small,
you don't have to.
Yeah, lots of small, beautiful interactions is definitely what I can say.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. I mean, like, I love hearing these kind of stories, and it's so amazing to hear how you just kind of happen to do an Islamic course. And like, you're going to be in Malaysia, and, you know, that's how Allah works. And, alhamdulillah, it's a beautiful story.
Yeah. It's a really, I don't know, slow, funny story. There wasn't really like one thing that, you know, made me feel like this is, you know, the religion for me. And I know like a lot of revert stories are like that. So sometimes like when I was making my mind up back in November, I was thinking to myself, like, have I missed something? Should there be this like big, you know, miracle moment where I hear the, you know, azan and then suddenly the light comes through or something like this? But no, for me, it was just yeah, like, and subhanallah, that is beautiful. But for me, it was definitely, I have to, slowly learn about this and think about it, and is this for me? And alhamdulillah, it was.
Oh, thank you so much. And I'll link like your Instagram and everything, so guys check out her Instagram, her YouTube channel, and thank you guys for watching.